All right. So, um, Shay's back. I really did not like, you know, parts of her, just like I didn't like Hunter, especially at the beginning. He grew on me. He's just, you know, an over anxious puppy who wants to be petted and and get approval and all that. So Hunter's adorable, and he's quirky, like, he is Sarah's barista, even though he didn't actually work there because he just didn't want to tell her that, no, I'm a lawyer. He didn't want to embarrass her. Um, so, and the reason I was wondering why Shay was back, because they were doing fine without a jury consultant. Apparently, she's been having issues at her new job, so she came back to Jacobson Moore. Okay, I'm sorry, but if you're having that much problems, I guess if they're like the Brexa dudes, where Shay absolutely hated it there because of how they treated her. So it could be that. Not that she wasn't actually good at her job. So she's back. And the trial of the week is this woman, this home care worker, who is on trial for murdering one of her patients with aspirin. And it slowly comes out that she actually uses this balm that has wintergreen oil, which has a chemical in it that's used in aspirin. So that's what killed him. And Louise was just completely distraught. And this episode was used to show how this trial was used to show how all Maddie wants from Julian, she literally just wants an apology from him, for him to acknowledge that even if the study wouldn't have killed Ellie, wouldn't have helped Ellie, which is what Julian's contention is, and he's not wrong. It's entirely possible that even if that study came to light, that, Ellie was still addicted. The study came out after she got addicted, not before, is my understanding. So that wouldn't have stopped her from relapsing. Addiction is hard. And just because you know what is addictive about a substance doesn't make it any less addictive. I mean, I love candy. I love desserts. I know that sugar is addictive. That doesn't make me crave it any less. I mean, yes, I can go months without craving it, but still, when I crave it, I crave it. It's not like I'm going to stop craving it because I know what I'm craving. I mean, that's stupid. So all she wanted was for Julian to admit that, that study could have saved somebody, like Olympia said. And she even tells Louise, okay, this is, you know, just, keep things separate. Do not show remorse until after the trial. And then explain that how sorry you are, because she honestly did not know. Now, I have, unlike similarly to last week, when the last trial, when I was like, what the hell with this decision, I'm kind of feeling the same here. Now, I don't know how far the degrees of manslaughter go in New York courts, But the whole point of manslaughter, my understanding, is you unintentionally kill someone. And that is completely what she did. She completely unintentionally killed him by using this bomb, which over time built up in his system and killed him. And to me, that is what manslaughter is. Now, do I actually think she deserved to go to jail? No, of course not. But if we're talking about what the law means, that's why we have manslaughter. So, yeah, I was very, very confused that they found her not guilty. But Maddie and Julian, Julian was just refusing to accept, refusing to apologize most of this episode. And it came out, which is what I thought, was he just did not, he was just burying it. He did not want to accept that, he didn't want to think about the fact that burying this study might have killed people. Now, again, would Ellie have been here? Would she have survived if that study came to light? Maybe, maybe not. Addiction sucks. However, now they claim it's some sort of a coating that made it addictive, but we all know that opiates are addictive. It ain't the coating that makes it addictive. I mean, it might not have helped, this particular coating, but that's not what people get addicted to usually. But anyway, so all she wants is an apology. They go to a AA meeting, or actually, it might have been the Narcotics Anonymous. It could have been NA, but I'm not sure. But anyway, and Julian gets accused of being this high-priced lawyer that her ex-husband has sent to spy on her. Because apparently he can't get over their divorce. I don't know. But, Julian comes up with this story, and you could see on Maddie's eyes, she's like, wait, where is this coming from? How do you know all this? Because Maddie truly thought that the only person at Jacobson Moore who understood addiction was her. Because she is so self-absorbed that she thinks she is the only one who goes through that pain. Even though she acknowledges that, no, she's not the only one, but somehow she thinks that because Jacobson Moore, and especially Julian, is, that they do certain things that aren't necessarily good, that must mean that they don't understand the human cost. Whereas Julian actually does, which is probably why he never felt as comfortable around the Welbrexa people as his father. Because his father is incapable of remorse. So she gets actually madder at him. Not because he understands, but the fact that he understands and yet refuses to acknowledge that he might have played a part in the opiate crisis. Now, again, it's basically an ego mechanism. He just does not want to accept that he might have killed people. Now, obviously not personally, but that his burying the study might have caused people to get addicted and die that might not have started at least these particular opiates, because I find it hard to believe that that's the only game in town. But maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know, maybe in this universe it is. So, he comes to visit he comes to visit Maddie. I guess he was because he was kind of ticked off that he was being, you know, cut out by Maddie. When I'm not sure, did he feel that? I mean, it's possible he did feel that way until Maddie probably told him what she found. Because by the end they're all on the same page. Now, they use Shay's knowledge and her relationship with Julian to their advantage. Julian asks her questions and to find out who's Milton, which turns out not a person, but a Milton, Massachusetts. It's a city in Massachusetts where the study was probably done. And so now they're going to have to find a whistleblower. Now, it's great that she's working with Julian and treating him like a human being. So they're past that. I think, I mean, obviously this is good for Maddie. Even Edwin said, who at the very beginning of this wanted someone to pay. He wanted Julian to pay, and now he's like, yeah, I made peace with it. So it's just Maddie at this point. But I think she's slowly coming around, at least on Julian. And now, whether Maddie told Alfie to look pathetic and sad when opening the gate for Julian, which I don't recall seeing that gate. But anyway, that finally broke Julian. It broke Julian because I don't know if it's also because I think this happened after the kids were worried that their parents would die, which, yeah, eventually they're going to, but not for a while. And I just loved it how they brought up Harry Potter's parents. And the response is, we're better at defensive magic, which I just loved. Julian is such a good dad, and I just wonder, how did he become such a good dad? Because apparently his father was a complete nightmare. I mean, he was trauma city to Julian. So I'm really curious where his role model is, or just he simply figured, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what my dad did. Like, as an example, bit of a tangent. There was literally a year. My dad was a neurologist. And there was literally a year where we never saw him. My brother and I, when we were little. We would wake up after he already went to work, and he would come home after we were already in bed. So we literally never saw him. My brother, who is a GI, well, was a GI, he still is. He didn't want to do that to his kids. He wanted to be present for them, for their activities, whether it be one with trumpet or the other with baseball or whatever other athletics, baseball, football. At this time, it was mostly baseball, Little League. And so he did all sorts of gymnastics to figure out the call schedules. Like, I'll do call on these days if you take call on these days, so I'm available during the summer for my kid. Or, this is when my kids band concerts are, and I need to be there, that sort of thing. So it could be a bit of that he just basically thought of what he wanted his dad to be and just went with that. So it's not that he had an example, it was just I don't want to do what my dad did. But anyway, so between that and seeing Alfie looking so pathetic. Now, I don't know if that was Alfie's choice or if Maddie told him that when Julian comes, look pathetic because maybe that'll finally break him and finally get him to understand that there are consequences. Even if it wasn't a direct line, even if this study would not have brought her back, wouldn't have killed her, that she would have survived. Even if that was not the case, you need to accept responsibility for the fact that this might have saved people. So he finally breaks down. And then by the end, we see the rest of it. We see Dixie telling Maddie about Milton, who she seems to have thought was a person. And then Shay being like, no, Milton isn't a person. And, giving more information. And them putting two and two together, and everybody is on the same page. So I'm loving it that everybody's together. Now, let's deal with Sarah and Hunter. Hunter seems to have ingratiated himself with Maddie and Olympia. Now, when Hunter was first introduced, the way Maddie was looking at him, I'm like, ooh, Granny is thirsty. And then I'm like, well, maybe she's just taken aback by his presence. That could be too. Because like Sarah said, he's very bro. And it turns out Sarah at first is annoyed with Hunter, but it turns out she doesn't like that she's already been replaced, which, I'm sorry, Hunter sounds like more of a replacement for Billy. I mean, she still's at her desk. She hasn't moved offices just because she's working for Julian now. So, but she's obviously feeling left out. And then Billy left, which they said that he took a severance package, so he would leave. So apparently they did think his job was redundant and, gave him a golden parachute. Now, about that, the actor who plays Billy has just called for arbitration against CBS Studios because of personal and professional character assassination. So he's going after CBS for the firing. Now, what ends up coming of this, I will let you know when something happens, but it doesn't sound like they're going to hire him back. Even if he shows that Leah was lying, that she was full of shit, even if he does manage to show that, I don't think I wouldn't want to work in a workplace where someone accused me of assaulting them. You don't want to work with that person. I mean, they certainly wouldn't have the dynamic that they had in the first season because now there's all that baggage. So even if he were to win, I doubt we're going to see Billy again. The only thing it will do is make him marketable for other projects. But I've been wrong before, so um but anyway. So when Hunter first came, he annoyed the hell out of me. By the end, he endeared himself to me. I like Hunter. Um God, I hope they don't do that. They don't keep up the gag of the secret handshake. Please just drop that. That should be a one-time thing. Just like the lady who is, seeing who's superfluous and can be let go, and not not knowing that the fish she's talking about is a pariah, which Sarah obviously did know because she knew it wasn't a shark, and she didn't fully accept the monkfish. So yeah, just like that. I hope it's a one episode thing, just one off. Um, so and Julian is so sweet with Sarah. It's like, oh, I didn't know you were adopted. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he doesn't know that because she told Maddie before they went to that retirement home. When Sarah said, I'll just be your granddaughter. And Maddie's like, but we don't look alike. And she's like, yeah, I don't look like my parents either because I was adopted. So I wonder if that's going to be Sarah's storyline of finding her birth parents because her home life right now sucks. The last we heard of her home life, it turned out that her mother was cheating on her father with, oh, I can't think of his name, and and that she was getting to marry the guy and all that. And that's the last we've heard. So apparently her home life has not improved since then. Now, maybe it's just simply the knowledge of the fact that her mother cheated on her father and realizing that her family life was nothing like what she thought it was. Or if something new is happening. So Julian is willing to sit down and listen to her, and I don't know, maybe Olympia never did that, but Julian seems more nurturing, more understanding, more empathetic of other people. Probably because of, how his father treated him. And he wants to treat others the way he wished his father treated him. Or maybe his mother did treat him. That she was there for him when his father was being a colossal dick. And so now we know that if Olympia's reason for admitting to Senior that she was the one who organized the coup in New York, if we thought that was going to kill him, well, obviously he's not dead. So Julian at first did not want to do this to his father, but basically they explained it to him, it's either you or him, because we have a case against you. Maddie has a case against you. So, yeah, that's just... So, maybe they're going to find another fall guy that's not Senior or Julian. Maybe, but I'm pretty sure Senior is screwed. It's just a matter of who else goes down with him at Wellbrexa. So, but it could turn out that, that even Senior gets exonerated, and that everyone goes back to being one big happy family. Um, all Julian's trauma from childhood notwithstanding, or Julian and Olympia kind of become family with the Kingstons. That they, instead of having Julian's father be grandpa, they either kill him off or send him to jail or both. And the Kingstons basically take on more grandkids, especially since there's that question of what's going to happen with Alfie, because he has Joey now. Joey has a sister and a husband. So, that could be a way of keeping them, being grandkids. I hope they don't, because they're talking about death, I hope they don't kill off one of them or both. I really, really hope that is not in the cards for this season or ever, because I really like those two. If anyone should die, it should be Senior, and not because he had a stroke. Well, he's suffering, so. Let's see. What else did I want to mention this episode? I believe I've covered everything. I'm glad they went back to the episodes just being a jumping off point to give a lesson to Maddie and or Olympia about how they should act in their own lives, and not overtaking. I mean, yes, I was a little ticked at the not guilty, simply because what the hell is manslaughter then if that wasn't it? But otherwise, it's basically, yeah, this is a trial that happened, but not as consequential as the last one. So I believe that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.